we're going to take a quick look at doing an advanced search, which you can do in almost any library catalog or database. For our example, we're going to use ProQuest Central, which is my when in doubt go-to database. The library tab in Wired is going to give you an alphabetized list of databases running left to right and then top to bottom. So we're going to scroll down to ProQuest Central and just click the link and open it up. And then we're going to go directly to the advanced search, which is in the top left corner. You'll see that in an advanced search, typically you will have multiple search boxes so that you can use more than one search term. And below these two, you have an option to add another row. So let's say we want to research serial killers. That will be one of our search terms. And whenever you have a multi-word term like serial killers, social work, climate change, gun control, anything like that, including a person's first and last name, what you'll want to do is put those words in quotation marks. That tells the system to look for, in this case, these two words together and in this order. Without the quotation marks, it would look for each individual word. So it would look for the word serial, and it could come up with anything in a series. It could look for a podcast that is called Serial. And it would also look for just the word killers, which, sure, could pull up information about killers, but not necessarily specifically limiting to serial killers. So these quotation marks will help quite a bit to make sure that you get the most relevant results. Then what we want to do is think about any other keywords we might want to use. Is there something specific about serial killers that we want to look into? So maybe we could look at how the brains of serial killers may predict or explain in some way their behavior. So we can use brains as another search term. And then we have to decide how we're going to connect these two search terms. And we have a choice of 3 connecting words or Boolean operators. So the first one is and. And when you choose and, what you're saying is that you want the system to look for the word serial killers and the word brains and only show you results if both of those search terms appear in a particular article or other source. This is a way of narrowing down your search. If you choose or, this is actually a way of expanding your search and saying, give me results that talk about either serial killers or brains, which in this case would be a terrible search because you could get a lot of articles that talk about brains and have absolutely nothing to do with murder. That doesn't mean that or is a bad Boolean operator. It just means that it's bad for this type of search that we're trying to do here. It can be really helpful if you're researching something that has closely related or interchangeable terms. Like with climate change, you may want to search climate change or global warming. Not exact synonyms, but used sort of interchangeably a lot, certainly very closely related. And then not is our third option. And it's probably the one you'll use the least often, but it's really helpful in certain situations. My favorite example of this is when I had a student who was researching what they call real-life Barbies, women who have a ton of plastic surgery to try to look exactly like a Barbie doll. And I always feel the need to stress that there is a Ken doll guy too. But we did a search for, of course, plastic surgery and Barbie. And we started looking through the results, and the student and I both were like, what is happening here? Because all through the results, it was just Nazis, Nazis, Nazis. And we didn't really think that that is what we had searched. But then we realized that there was actually a Nazi during World War II whose name was Klaus Barbie. So because we had searched for Barbie, we had inadvertently searched for this Nazi. And it was a great opportunity to go back and add not Klaus, getting rid of his first name, got rid of everything about him, so that we could hone in on what we're really looking for. Because that's the goal here, to craft a search that is going to maximize the number of potentially useful results for you, while also minimizing the number of irrelevant, unrelated things that are just going to clog up your search results. So we're going to change this back to and, which, by the way, is the Boolean operator you'll probably choose the most often. It's just the type of search we tend to do the most. And it is, of course, the type of search we're doing here. Now, below the multiple search boxes, you have the option to limit to full text. You might notice it is already checked. That's because I can do that in the settings on my end in the ProQuest databases. However, if you use any of the other companies' databases, you will want to look for that to check it yourself. If you have it checked, it means you'll actually have the full article there, and that's what you want. The other option we could use here is to narrow down by publication date, but it's just my personal preference. I like to wait until I see how many results I have first before deciding how much to narrow down by publication date. So now that we know how we're going to proceed with our advanced search, we would just hit search over on the right and check out another video to see what to do once you have those results.